and welcome to Psychology for Geeks. This is Elizabeth. Did the intro backwards. That's fine. I'm a little sick, and I'm basically forcing David to record this episode with me because he took forever, and we were supposed to record it last week, and I'm totally blaming him if this is late. Anyway, so today we're we're not reviewing, but we're like, I guess, giving my thoughts on the Arabasta. What's it called, David? The
Alabasta?
No. That's what you just said. That's what I just said. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's early in the morning and I'm a little sick. That's my reasoning. Anyway, what? It's not a arc. There. We're like arc.
That
Is the
took
word.
a little bit too long, even for someone that just woke up.
This is what you're supposed to like help me. Jeez.
I'm not a mind reader. That's your
Well,
job.
you're supposed to. Damn. Okay, anyway, so we're talking about the Arabasta episode this time. And wait, did we record? The last one we recorded was just audio too, right?
No, it was video and audio.
Oh my gosh, I can't even, I guess. Anyway, so yes, so we're recording it just audio to try to like increase the quality of the video and the sound, instead of just using Zoom because it's free. If you guys know of any other apps that are like free or whatever that are better quality, please let me know. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna get started on this thing. And so I don't really remember because it was last week, David, that I finished reading it. But I do have my handy notes. And
Well, let's start at the beginning. How did you feel about Reverse Mountain?
Reverse Mountain? Oh my god, wait, the well?
Yeah.
Okay. I was at In and Out and I was reading that those chapters with the well, and I was like, I can't cry here. But because I was like, oh my gosh, like poor well. And then I'm okay, so like, why didn't, like, instead of like creating an enemy out of Luffy, why didn't Luffy was like, hey, I'll become your friend? Why was he trying to fight it?
Because they ended up in a draw. How else are you going to finish that draw? They need one more bout.
Or they could have just been friends. Well, actually, technically, no, that wouldn't have worked because then the well has already been waiting for
Exactly.
the friends.
That's why. How'd you feel about Crocus?
Crocus.
That's the old guy living inside the well.
Oh, like, at first I was like, okay, weirdo, like, what the heck? And then like, at first, and then I was like really confused because I thought the well was like not an actual well, like I thought it was like a mechanical one. But then when he started explaining the story of like the only way he could help the well was to live inside it and like doctor it from the inside basically, and I'm like,
Yep.
oh.
Those are known as island whales because they're as big as a fucking island.
Aww.
Yeah, no, Crocus's intro, from what I remember, he has an intense look about him. And when he was introduced, I think Zoro was like, hey, where are we? You know, what's going on? And then Crocus goes like, yeah, people usually introduce themselves before they'd want to, ask someone else for their name. And then Zoro goes like, oh, yeah, sorry. And then he interrupts Zoro as he's about to introduce himself. That is by far one of my favorite jokes out there.
So I have this, like the first note that I wrote was like, how many times did the ship have to be repaired? Because it's gone through something. Like just like the first like chapter of this new arc, I was like, oh wait, that's like some massive damage right there. Like how many times? And then I was like, wait, does he like switch to a different ship eventually or something? Like this isn't like major spoilers, is it? If
It
you were
is.
to oh jeez, okay, fine.
It's like super major spoilers, bro.
Okay, fine. So that was just like something that I was thinking. I was like, how many times? Because like I imagine they get
But-
into like fights a lot.
No,
and,
yeah,
like,
keep that in mind. Because eventually they do have to repair the ship by a professional.
okay. So so then like my next note is like I guess on like Miss Wednesday and Mr. Nine. They sort of reminded me of Jesse and James from Team Rocket because they were so incompetent but also kind of funny and like willing to help. Like it was like really weird dynamic where they were like trying to get the will, but
I
also
wouldn't doubt if Oda, for some reason, had Jesse and James when he first created like this little situation.
oh, okay. And then like later, I guess I just don't have anything on that. But then later, when like it was discovered that Miss Wednesday was like an actual princess.
Oh wait! Before we get to Vivi, I forgot Loguetown.
Okay, you like names? I don't really remember names. You have to give me more
It
of a
should be the
description.
town where Luffy got like his head got put in the stocks and he was almost about to get killed by Buggy.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna pause this because friggin' Blaze.
It should have
Okay, I
been.
paused it. Like, because you have to give me more of a description. Like, what happened in that island?
That's where we met Smoker. The guy that has 2 cigars in his mouth.
Okay, so apparently that was like not something that I care very much about because I have no notes on that.
Really?
I mean, I have thoughts on Smoker afterwards, like later on when he shows up again, but like right now, like no. Well, I guess like that's where Zoro got his new legendary sword, right?
Yeah. That's where he
Okay.
got like his curse sword. I think 2 curse swords. And they introduced a very interesting person that stopped Smoker.
The girl, right? No.
He stopped Smoker from trying to capture Luffy. And Smoker called him Dragon.
Oh wait. Oh, is it like Luffy's brother? Is that what we're talking about? I have no idea what's going on anymore.
How do you not know this?
I don't know, David. I told you it's been a week. I don't remember any of this. And I didn't write any notes. I don't know. What?
Okay, so Loguetown. Logtown is the place where the Pirate King got executed. And so it is famous for that. Smoker was there when the Pirate King was executed, obviously as a child. And that's where Zoro met Tashigi. And Zoro had like this really cool scene where he tested his luck against a cursed sword. And did you see how deep that sword went into the freaking floor? It was like a little bit more than halfway. That is a sharp ass sword. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, honestly, like Zoro is your favorite, so I know you pay more attention to him. I do not. So
Anyways, the reason why Zoro meeting Toshigi was so interesting is because she looks a little bit like Kuina, which is Zoro's like childhood best friend that died.
oh yeah, no, yeah, I got that, but
Yeah.
like I don't know what.
Then
Is that-
afterwards, you see kind of Luffy have what is known as like the devil's luck, or at least that's what people are akinning it to. Other people have different theories, and that's how he kind of got away from Buggy before his head was about to be chopped off by a blade, which is so far one of the only things that actually can hurt him. It's either piercing or slashing that can actually cut into him. Shenanigans happens, and then after that, I think they meet Smoker. Smoker chases them for a bit. Luffy realizes that Logias are very powerful because they cannot be touched by any physical means, as far as we know. Well, besides Sea Stone, which hurts all devil fruits. Then Smoker gets caught by Dragon, the guy with like the hood and the tattoos on his face. He grabbed Smoker's baton thingy.
Like wait, like what is the point? Like, do you want me to like? What is it? Is he like
It's
something in like a future storyline or whatever?
yes,
okay.
it's very important. That's why I bring it up.
Okay, once it gets to the future storyline, we'll discuss it. For now, it's not necessary because I don't
Also,
remember.
I kind of wanted to know, how'd you feel about like Zoro's thing? Because it's also kind of like an episode where the crew is just chilling for a bit until shenanigans happens.
Well, I have one thing that I have. I mean, yeah, I guess. I didn't write anything on those. I think I was just.
You're making me
them.
sad, Lise. You're making me sad, real sad.
Okay, but to be honest, on this one, most of my notes, I think I'm like I just wrote like funny things. I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. It wasn't until like later where I wrote more about like the storyline and stuff. Because like at first I was like really confused as to what was going on and what like the whole point of this thing was. Yeah, like my next note is that when Nami volunteers to rescue the princess with the crew, and then Zoro's like, wait, why do I have to go? And then he's like, because it's like in the contract or something. He's like, we all help out to do the mission, and then I get the money. And then I'm like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. I'm gonna start using that from now on. We all do the work, but I get the money. And I'm like, smart. And like he ends up going anyway because she like bullshits him basically on like,
Think about it this way instead. She's the treasurer as well as the navigator. She can handle all the money because everybody else, what are they going to do? Spend it on a shit ton of food that they may or may not need for like the travel, or a bunch of dumb shit.
well, I mean, it does make sense because like one of the other things that I wrote down was that like Luffy and the crew, they're basically like they could not give less of a fuck because like they're just very like, you know, carpe diem, YOLO, like they're like, oh, super chill. And then like when things happen, like they're there and they show up and they're ready to fight or whatever, but otherwise they're like, yeah, whatever. Like if it's not right in front of their face, they're like, we're not gonna worry about it, there's no point. And I'm like, touche. I'm like, that's okay, that's like in real life we should think about it a little bit more in that
like
way.
to them it's like, what can they actually do? They're so far away from the situation that at this point it's like, can't really do anything about it until I'm there.
Yeah, but speaking of someone who has anxiety, it's really hard to just not think about it or worry about it. But yeah, it's a nice reminder, I guess, of like reading something, and it's like, oh well, you know, there's no point worrying until like later. And also, okay, so I think I am really like skipping ahead.
See that? I'm gonna have to fix that.
Oh, I'm
that right
sorry. David's just complaining again about the fact that I speak very softly, and I'm like,
It's not that you speak softly. It's not just that. It is that you speak away from the mic. Like you're over here, and then you expect the mic to pick it up.
My apologies. I'm putting it right in front of my face now. Happy?
No, but go on.
Anyway, the next note that I have is okay, so when they get to that what is it, little paradise or little garden or whatever,
Little garden
with the giants. Yeah, so at first I was like, wait, what the heck is going on? And then like, so in terms of like being a warrior or whatever, like Luffy and Zoro and like what's the guy with the long nose again?
Usopp?
Yeah, Usopp.
How dare you forget the goat?
Whatever. So he basically, like, they were all like, oh yeah, you're warriors and like this is a thing that you need to do and fight. And I'm like, they freaking forgot what the fight was about. And then like later on we find out it's like a dumbass reason where they did it, but they like for 100 years they battle each other. But not gonna lie, like after a while I was like, oh, he died. And then I'm like, at the end I was like really happy that the other giant didn't actually die, because then the other one would have been alone. He was like so sad. And then but then he reflected and he's like, why are we fighting? Like, he was my friend. And it was basically more like not necessarily like fighting to the death, but it was more like
a competition.
Yeah,
To see who won the previous competition.
Yeah, it was just like good fun for them after a while. But like then I was like, okay, like I'm with Nami on this one, where like I do not like, I think there was this one scene where I was like, I do not understand the crew, and I feel really bad for Nami because she has to put up with them. Zoro wanting to cut his legs off to go and fight. How was he supposed to do that? How? And then he actually did it. He was like, oh, I was halfway through cutting off my legs before Luffy showed up. What the heck?
Yeah, wouldn't you?
No!
Pussy.
I thought it was like really, really funny though, that he was like, if I'm gonna become a statue, I'm gonna choose a cool pose. And then he was like, you all should have chosen a cool pose. And I was like, all right, yeah, okay, I guess that makes sense.
He has a point though. In either situation.
And then the other thing that I found like hilarious is that like Sanji was like waiting for them for a long ass time, and then he like nobody showed up, so he went to look for them, and then he just found a house and he sat in it and had tea and totally forgot about his crew members. I mean, like, I mean, it worked out in the end, but also like, Sanji, what the heck? Okay, so like 2 weeks ago or something, when everyone was telling, like, I think in the last arc, everyone was telling Luffy that he really needed like to have a ship's doctor or whatever. I freaking knew it. I freaking knew it was gonna be Chopper. And then you were like, not gonna tell you. And I was like, I already know because the internet. And I just didn't know he got huge though. But yeah,
yeah,
anyway.
no, Tony Chopper is a hell of a fucking doctor. Like, a lot of fans that have been sticking with the show usually have a complaint about, like, you know, characters. They're like, oh, they're not getting enough screen time, or oh, they're not getting enough development. Which I can kind of agree here and there. And Chopper is, like, one of those characters where right now, he's really cool. Later on, he unfortunately gets turned into a mascot.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I can kind of see that a little bit because like his introduction was good. Like one of like the comment that I made on this, or like the note that I have on this, is that he, because he's like half human and half reindeer, he like couldn't fit in with the reindeer, and he couldn't fit in with people, obviously, because he looked weird. But and then I don't know, my, you know, my mental health professional mind kicked in, and I was like, oh, I can totally identify. Like, it just reminded me of like the experience of a lot of immigrants where they like, well, I guess like mine in particular, because when I go to Mexico to visit family, I don't feel like I fit in because I'm not as Mexican as they are, or like there's a lot of things I don't understand, and I don't like, even though I am here in the US, I am fluent in English, like over there I am not. And here
no, you're still fluent in English over there.
oh, whoa, oh my gosh, Spanish, I'm in Spanish, oh gosh, I can't, today's not a day. Anyway, so like yeah, and like I here in the US, I don't feel like I fit in because I am too Mexican, or like I don't know, like it just feels really weird where like, especially like when you first move to like the US or like any country, you feel like, you know, you don't really belong anywhere because you're too different, or things you don't understand, you know, the culture or whatever.
It's like not enough of one, but also not enough of the other.
Yeah, and then like I'm like, oh, I totally related to Chopper's story line where he just couldn't, and he tried so hard, and then like the awkward thing where he was trying to be mean to people because he didn't want them, like he didn't know how to react to praise, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's like such like an introvert thing to like not know how to react when people praise you, and you're like,
that just kind of burns my soul.
Yeah, okay, so like the other thing too, you're probably not gonna be able to tell me this, but there is this one instance when Chopper says that he was able to discover 7 stages of transformation for the fruit, and then I'm like, does that mean that everyone who has eaten the fruit has 7 stages that they can potentially reach?
Oh, I can totally answer that. Not necessarily. He is a specific type of devil fruit user. He is technically a Zoan, technically, but he ate the human fruit, which turns him into a human. So he was a reindeer first, and then like he ate the fruit and became more sentient. But because of his doctorial abilities and abilities to kind of like mess with the body and what have you, he was able to kind of like enhance certain aspects of his reindeer self and his human self to become more potent in like when he uses the rumble balls.
So then it's only him that is able to do the 7 stages. Oh, okay.
Specifically because of the medicine that he himself created.
For himself.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So then after, like, my next note is like, oh my gosh, the goodbye for Chopper that the doctor did when he fired the cannons.
My
and
heart.
then the snow, like a different color to make it resemble. Like, I was like, I couldn't. I was so sad, but also like so happy because like he was finally able to get closure because he finally like his master's wish was, I guess, fulfilled.
It wasn't his master. It was more like his dad. Come on, man.
Well, yeah, that's true, but a little bit of both, I guess. But anyway, yeah.
It was his dad.
Yeah, but then I guess I felt like Chopper got a little bit of closure, like with his dad's like wish and stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah. And then everyone was like, what? That's crazy. And then I'm like, yeah.
Yo, the backstory, like his backstory, and then like how technically Chopper didn't kill his dad because his dad was like, nah, nothing but myself is going to kill me.
I was like, I couldn't really decide whether the guy was like a freaking genius or an idiot, the dad, because like he was like recommending like weird things for medicine that didn't really work, but then he was like a good doctor, but then he was trying to do something like good for the people. Like, I don't know, like there were so many things with him where I was like, I mean, he had a good heart, for sure, but I was like, wait, was he a competent doctor? Or
No,
like
no. He was known as the quack doctor.
So he wasn't a real doctor like at all?
Not necessarily, no. All he learned is from like books that he had found on the floor, or maybe stole. I don't know. But like he did technically learn a couple of things from medicine here and there, poisons, antidotes, etc. But outside of that, to actually like be a good doctor, that was more Kureha.
Well, I'm glad that Chopper learned from her.
Yeah, I know, right?
I loved that she just kept telling people, like every time like she was introduced to someone, she was like, yeah, I'm 135 years old.
Yeah, like wouldn't you if you still had like your fucking peak body, I guess?
Yeah, well, yeah, but still, I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, like after a certain point, I'd be like, hey, yo, 120, look at this, and then like show off my guns that I totally have.
Just the fact that she could still walk at 120, I think that was like amazing. So okay, so the next sort of like little bit or like little chapter or whatever, it's when Purgas the Ace was introduced, and then I'm like, I suspected it before like he even said I'm your brother or whatever, because like he really looked like Luffy.
The same attitude to like the situation.
It's basically the same face, dude. Too like the same anyway.
Yeah, kinda.
So like my question is, does the D stand for something?
Denise, dude, damn.
Wait, does it or does it not?
We literally have no fucking clue.
Okay,
because there has been speculations for decades. Okay. We don't know.
Well,
come on, man. We still don't know.
Okay, we're gonna have to pause right here to allow David to have a small mental breakdown. Okay, so I was just wondering, like, I don't know, like, I thought it was, like, significant or something, or, like, a family thing.
It's significant in the way that I believe it was already stated that anyone with the D initial is bound to do something great. Whether it is a negative great thing, or a positive great thing, or a neutral great thing.
Is that what the doctor said, right? Because, like, the doctor lady, she was like, D, it was like, oh, it's those D people or whatever. And then I was like, what? I think that's why I wrote it down, because then she was kind of like, I thought it was like a hidden something that was revealed later with the D, because she was like, oh, because she knew someone else who also had that, like, a D in his name. And then she's like, huh, or whatever. So I was like, wait, what is the secret? What do you know? Because she didn't really like go into like a flashback or anything. She was just kind of like
reminiscing.
Yeah. And then I was like, no, tell me.
Yeah, no, like all we know so far is what I just said. Besides that, we are hoping, and I say hoping, that Oda in this like new not arc but saga, in the new saga, he explains what it is, because we already have some answers to some things, but not necessarily to most burning questions. Silence.
So my next thing is like, well, this is obvious because I wrote this and then I like it was answered later, so I'm gonna skip through that. But okay, so my thing is like, oh, what do you mean his brother's not gonna help Luffy become the king of the pirates? Like,
because that's not his ambition.
Wait,
That's
what's
not-
so great about the captain that he's serving? Is he even a great one?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I'll wait and see.
Yeah, because, like, what is it? The only reason why Luffy didn't stop being his own pirate to join Ace is for the same reason why Ace is not helping him. That's not their individual dreams. Each of them already have something that they want, something that they are willing to die for. And each of them know it. Obviously, they're going to be there if, like, the other needs help, or if the other goes, like, hey, help me out, they'll do it. But other than that, like, you know, it's like, I'm here to support you 150%, dog.
Okay, so I totally want to see him fight Ace, because he freaking destroyed all the ships with one freaking punch. Like,
That's why they call him Fire Fist Ace, bruh.
I'm like, wow. That was, yeah. My other thing was just me dreaming my next note, because I'm like, I think Sanji's like, I think this is after they left, like, and then they finished eating all the dinosaur or whatever, and then they were like, oh yeah, we need more, and I think that's when Nami got sick, I think, or something.
Yeah. After Little Garden, she ended up getting sick.
And then he was like, oh, you don't have to worry about nutrition or whatever. Like, I take care of all that stuff. And then I'm like, we need a chef in the family. Like, someone who would just cook for us. And we don't have to worry about that. And, like, again, like, I'm sort of going back to, like, the whole, like, how genius Luffy was, I guess, in selecting the people, because Sanji doesn't only just cook for them, he like takes pride in what he cooks, and he actually takes like nutrition and all that stuff into account, which is amazing. So yeah, I want to cook chef in my family to do that, because I hate cooking.
Like right here, it's like a little bit obvious that of what Oda is doing. One, he makes sure that Luffy literally cannot survive without them, as you like remember from the first couple of chapters.
The first voyage that he took by himself, I was like, it's a freaking miracle you live, bro.
Yeah, if he hadn't met Nami, the navigator, he would have been lost. Him and Zoro, the guy that cannot walk in a straight line, they would have been lost.
Yeah.
They would have died of hunger because they don't know what to eat or how to make good food if they hadn't met a chef. And they wouldn't been as, like, clever or, tactful, I guess, in, like, their plannings if they didn't have Usopp.
Zoro's very good at planning too, though.
Yeah, but he's more of this specific combat. Usopp is more like the war.
I suppose.
And he's like also kind of like has the mind of everybody needs to escape alive.
True. I do appreciate that about him.
Yeah.
Okay, and also like immediately after, like we see like Zoro like start training again, and then I'm like, how is he so freaking strong? I call BS. Like, that is not human. Did he eat a fruit and like
He can
Oda?
swim.
No, like, no.
Yes, swim.
Is he a
swam.
freaking alien or something? Because like, there's no way.
No, this is One Piece, which we also call fiction. Did that answer your question? Did that help a little?
Still, I can't buy the devil fruits or whatever. I can buy that. The fact that Zoro's human and that strong, a little too far-fetched.
Well, you also have to take into account every time you see a scene of him in the ship, he's always doing either one of three things: either drinking, sleeping, or working out.
Okay, but still, the weights were like, and I'm like, wait, the real MVP in that scene was that pole that like held up the weights, because he was like super thin and he was like massive weights on the end. Like,
I think that eventually we get to see a scene, or I don't know if this scene already happened. The one where he has like huge weights on his mouth while he's doing his exercises.
I don't know.
No, not yet.
Well, I don't know, like, because sometimes the little details like that, I kind of miss them because I'm reading it on my phone, so it's like a little small, you know. So like I don't know, ADHD mind. I miss the little things. Yeah. And then they get to I don't know, that sand place. I forgot what it's called.
Alabasta, literally the name of the saga /
All right, whatever.
thingy majiggy.
All right, for anyone listening, like as the first video or second video or whatever, just keep this in mind for you know, names and me do not get along. I forget names. I do not remember names. Yeah, my brain was not created to remember names.
And that's why I'm here.
Basically.
Help. She has tied me to a chair. This is not a joke. Please send help.
Yeah, the rope is our dog Blaze, who's resting on his lap.
Shh, they don't need to know that.
Anyway, so the other funny thing that I noticed on this was that Luffy just immediately started the training the Kung Fu Jugons. Like, he just didn't even question it. He's like, yes, I am your master. This is how you fight. It was so funny. And those little Jugon things are so cute.
That is the best way to get rid of them. He was like, all right, I'm going to show you a couple of moves, master them until you're strong as this. And then, like, breaks a boulder.
I don't know, it's just so funny. Because, like, the princess was like, no, don't fight him or whatever, because then, and then, like, she turns around and he's already training them. And I'm like, okay. And then, like, later on, like, it's like when they're like walking through the desert or whatever, he's like, oh, that old saying, when you get hungry you should eat. And then I'm like, what? I mean, it should be an old saying.
It is an old saying if you think about it.
I mean, it's like one of those, like, no duh.
Yeah.
There's like not a lot of wisdom in there.
What do you mean?
I mean, yeah,
if you are hungry, eat.
it's a no-brainer, bro.
Yeah, but people say that, and it's old. Because people have said that for literally decades. One could even say since ancient times.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, back to the funny things. So the next thing I noticed was the camel that they found that will only give rides to the girls. Like, I was like,
I forgot like what the camel's name was. I think it was like Lashy or something like that.
I don't remember. But like, it was like so it's just so funny because then later on they dress him as a human and have him ride one of the ducks, and I'm like, that is not even possible. Like that. Oh my gosh.
No. It worked. And you saw it work.
No, it's just like, it's so, no. Another
they were part of the
that
team,
was
dog.
way too far-fetched. And then later, like, the palace guards or whatever, they're like, oh, I don't know, he was just part of the team, so he must be like an important camel to the princess, so let's just feed him. Ah, that was cute. Okay, the other thing too that I wrote is that Luffy just ate the cactus, like without like a care.
Without hesitation.
And then I'm like, oh my gosh, he's another Sokka. He just like ate the like, oh, there's water inside them, I'ma just drink it. And I'm like, is that a guy thing, David, or it's like it's just a Sokka and Luffy thing?
Dare you? Kind of. It's a survival thing, you know? See water, drink water. You hungry? Eat food.
Yeah, okay. I see why Luffy needs a crew to keep him alive.
Yup.
I think at this point I'm noticing the pattern where like the crew is basically just making sure that Luffy survives so he can fight the final boss. Because that's really the only thing he's good at, fighting the final boss. Because he's, and really it's like
He's a good leader.
He's okay.
No, yeah, because, like, remember the one scene where he punches Vivi?
He's a good, I think what I really like about like everyone in the crew is that they, whenever they're like all dumb, like
Yes.
they all are dumb, but when they are really needed, they stand up and they're like, I'm here, and they kick ass. Like, I really do appreciate that. They're like, whatever it is needed and it's in their area of expertise, they're like, I will not only like help, but I will be the freaking best in this area. And I'm like, yes, I appreciate that. Because like, oh, I don't know, I just really like Sanji. Because then at the end, like when they were leaving Arabasta, then he's like, oh yeah, I asked about what the dishes are, and everybody's just like not even questioning the food, just like, you know, like eating
it.
Yeah, straight out. And it and he's like, oh, so what's this called? And then he like makes sure to get spices to be able to like eat, you know, feed the crew whatever they really enjoyed. And I'm like, yeah, I like Sanji, not his eyebrow though.
Yeah, no, he's always thinking about the different meals and about the crew. Like, one of the things that a lot of people see in him, and including myself, is his kindness.
Yeah, for sure I can see that. I mean, it's because he's kind that he's actually like paying attention to like
The crew and their individual needs, yeah.
yeah, because that's kind of what I was like, oh, we need a chef to be able to like to do this. Because like normally, like if you were to hire someone, or like Luffy like just found someone who like was willing to cook or whatever, wouldn't have taken the same pride or the same sort of care with their food as Sanji, you know. And then like he's constantly be like, hey, I invented these new drinks, you guys want to try it out? He's like constantly like just like serving them food that he's really proud that he created. And I love him.
And he will never say no to
Cooking.
like a request of like, hey, can I have this, or can I, get that? He'll go like, yeah, all right.
Immediately.
Bet.
Yeah, I know. I love him.
Or he'll go like, oh, it's almost dinner time, I can just add that to the menu.
So I don't know what I was thinking because my next note just says sometimes he makes a lot of sense for an idiot. I don't know if it's a quote or if I was just thinking that, but might have been when she like punched the girl. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
but,
no, because it probably was that scene where Vivi is complaining about like something that she basically can't do anything about at the moment. And then Luffy kind of like knocks some sense into her. And he's like, you cannot help everyone. You have to get that through your head right now.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. But like, this quote or this note actually works for everyone in the crew. So it could have been anyone, or if it works for anyone. The other thing too is that I just like, okay, so I compared Miss Wednesday to and Mr. Nine to Jesse and James because they were like idiots at the beginning, but then for some reason like the princess or Miss Wednesday did like a 180 and was like, I'm actually a princess, who cares about these things, and like I'm actually kind of smart. And I'm like, what? And then when we get to meet the king, I'm like, oh, I love the relationship. And just the way that he is king is amazing, because he was like, I don't care if the rebels take the palace, like they are the people of this country. And he was like more concerned about the people. Like he didn't care about his own status or his power or whatever. Like he was just like all about the people, and I really appreciate that. And it reminded me, I think he was like the king of like some Scandinavian country. Like he became king sort of like by default, or they asked him, but like
Oh, the
before.
one that got like they elected him, and then he was like, "All right, what you guys want?" And then they told him, and then he was like, "All right, let's do that." And then they just kind of kept him in power because he was just doing the things that they want him to do. Was it that one?
Well, no, I think I know, I remember I told you about it. I forgot his name, or when I think it was like during World War II that he was installed as, or like a little bit before that he was installed as king. But he actually thought about it. He wasn't just like, yeah, I'm gonna be king, yeah, for sure. Like he actually thought about it. He discussed it with his family, and he was like, okay, I have some conditions. And then he just like, when was crowned, he immediately just started helping people, and then he was like immediately like reduce like how much like income, I guess, was going to the king, and started like opening up charities and like helping the people. Because I think this was, I can't remember if it was like during World War II or like a little bit after, but he was like just doing everything he could to like help the people. And then I'm like, at this point, like I love history, so I love hearing about like all these stories and stuff like that. And he's probably like the only king that I have ever heard of that was actually like a good king to like his people, like in real life. Like obviously we probably have like a lot of like kings, not that I can remember any right now, but like in like fiction and like fictional worlds or whatever. But like in real life, I've never really heard of like another king who was like, who didn't really care much for, you know, being king, but he was like, okay, well, being king allows me to help people, so I will do that. And from what I understand, like his whole family is like that. They're kind of like, oh yeah, you know, we're like a princess or princess or whatever, but like they're just, you know, they're regular people, and they don't take it too seriously, that
Yeah, their
they're
heads
like the
is
royal
not up
family.
their own ass
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, so I appreciate that. And yeah, just like I think my next note for like the king, Vivi's dad, was like, he was just like a good parent. He was like, oh, you want to make friends with the peasants, go make friends with the peasants. And like he just again, he just treated like it like, oh, that's his job, not like it's, because a lot of like, I guess in the past or whatever, like the emperors and the kings, they were like, oh, it's because God gave this to me, and that's why I am God or whatever. But like he
Yeah,
was
they
like,
allow the power to get to their heads real easily. But he
yeah,
treats them more as a position to take care of
yeah, yeah,
until
yeah.
the next person comes along.
Yeah, so like his parenting was like ace parenting. I approve. And my other thing was like in all caps, I wrote, meanwhile, uh, Django? Jano?
Django?
Django? Yeah. What? He just got
He's the
acquitted
hypnotist.
because, yeah, because he was dancing. Like, because I know you said that like the cover stories like sometimes have a mini story, so I had been paying attention to them. And then I was like, wait, the Navy basically forgave him because he got everyone in the courtroom dancing, and then he got admitted into the Navy. Like, I was like, what the heck
So
is going on here?
you can view this on two lenses, right? First lens, it is fucking hilarious that he just started a dance party and everybody was like, ah, I like this guy, work it off. And that's all he had to do. The second lens, the world government is so corrupt that they would allow a criminal to just like mess around like that.
It is. It's both. It is.
Yeah.
Both.
Isn't that wild? That also, it like adds to the world building, and I'm like, God damn, that's so cool.
So my next note is on Sanji again. And if you are following us and wanting to continue following us, just keep in mind that I will be talking about Sanji a lot. Because I
Until
like
she
him.
doesn't. In which case, she'll be talking about Zoro or
Um
Nami.
I don't know. Like Zoro is like has a lot of like really cool fighting things, but I don't, and then I can see why you like him, but he's not my cup of tea. Like, not that I hate him or anything like that. It's just like he's not my favorite.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah,
It
Sanji's
depends
my
on
favorite, you know.
what you're looking at and what you yourself admire. If you admire someone who has physical power or is strong or is like honorable and
And
whatnot,
not necessarily just admire, but also like someone you can connect to. Like if you can connect
yeah.
to that story, yeah. Yeah, anyway, so Sanji, when he was sipping tea in that villain's hideout and completely forgot about his friends, he was just like, restaurantly crap. And then I was like, okay, that had me giggling for days because then he repeated it a couple of times throughout the thing. And I think that's why I wrote it here, because he also like repeated it again to the crocodile dude.
Yeah.
And then he was like, wait, I remember this guy. And then I was like, oh, Sanji's so funny. And I'm like, he should open a restaurant and he should call it that because it would be funny and I will go eat there. Hey, if anyone is thinking of opening a restaurant, this is a great name for your restaurant, Lee Crab, and I will go eat there. Please send me an invite or leave a comment. I will go eat there. If you open a restaurant that's called that and it's like One Piece theme or like even just Sanji theme themed, I would go eat there. Oh, okay. So my other thing was like one of the other, like I forgot their numbers, but I was like, what the heck? Even inanimate objects can eat the fruit because the dog, like, okay, no, again.
Science. It's
no
science. Yeah.
No.
Some doctor, mad scientist guy made it so that you can have a weapon and then the weapon eats fruit.
No.
And then bam,
no.
dog gun.
I mean, the dog was like really cute, but whatever. No. Again, another thing that I'm like, too far-fetched, don't believe. Next.
They will explain this. This does get explained.
Oh my god.
Eventually, but it does.
I think with all of these things, I'm kind of getting an idea of like how detailed, oh man, what's his name again?
Oda?
Yeah, Oda is. Thank you, David. And again, this is why David is here. How Oda is with his like storylines and like his character creations. It's like just very, and it's like so different. And then I'm like, I can see why not only One Piece has a humongous fandom, but why it has had so much success for so many years. Because it really is like and it's probably something that like he doesn't, me thinking of my ADHD mind, but he probably doesn't get bored because he created a world in which he has the ability to really do whatever he wants. And like this is probably like, this is something that I am totally ripping off of David because this is an observation that David made and he told me about it before I started reading, and I'm starting to understand because like he has access to creating like all kinds of characters, and like again, like you said, this isn't a story that takes itself too seriously, so like a inanimate object can eat a fruit, so like, you know, things like that, and it just makes for like really good comedy, and you know, it's not, I don't know, it's fantastic. I like it. So my next note makes no sense. Maybe you can fill in the blanks in my memory, but it says, dude, when Nami made, oh yes, I remember. Okay, so I read it. I couldn't read my own handwriting for a second, and I thought it said Navy instead of Nami. But when Nami made a mirage with the stick thingy, and then she got stopped in the brain, I was like, no way, she can't die. And I was like, wait a minute, what's going on? What? That was really good. That was good.
Yeah, that fucking got you, huh?
That definitely got me.
I think that's what is hilarious about her mirages, is that if I remember, they don't look like her. At least, like, not exactly like her. I think some of them are, like, short and some of them are, like, way too big.
Oh, well, this one kind of did look like her. And like,
yeah, exactly. So the one that actually looks at her is definitely the fake one.
Oh, jeez.
So no one's going to think twice about it. Boom. She a real smart one.
Okay. So I go back to it's very unbelievable Okay, so I just got off my soapbox saying how much I admire this story and Oda for writing it, but also let's go back to the fact that this is very unrealistic because my next note is like, so in this world, is there like mana or something? Because there is no way that Sanji and Zoro are that strong because they go up against people that have eating fruits and they're like stupid strong, and like there's no way that Zoro can lift a building. Like no, okay, yeah, there's a lot of people who are very strong or whatever, but no, this is a little too much. A little too much.
Okay, okay. So think about it this way, right? The Pirate King. So far, he has been confirmed to not have eaten a devil fruit. He has only been shown as Gold Roger, the Pirate King.
All right, so I'm totally expecting him to have either eaten a fruit or have a super capable crew, just like Luffy, and the Pirate King to be a complete idiot, or there's something like mana or like chi or whatever you want to call it that allows people to like train and just gain power, because otherwise absolutely ridiculous. I do not buy it and it's not realistic.
Well, you just have to have a strong enough ambition or will. You know, and just get strong. That's it.
Okay. Sure.
Will it and it happens. LOL.
Okay, so I earlier talked about like how I have anxiety. That bomb plot gave me so much anxiety. Like, because he was through like multiple chapters that they were like, oh no, we have to go get it, it's gonna explode, and then this happened and that happened, and then it went back to the other person, and then I was like, everyone's gonna die, somebody has to go find the bomb. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was a really good story, huh?
No, it was. And then I was like, this is why I have to wait for like the weekend to read this, like the next arc, because I can't read through the week, because then I'll just be like completely obsessed and like not work and like stay up until like an ungodly hour, like trying to like read the next thing. So I can't do that. It was crazy. I had so much anxiety, and I was like, oh, I can't.
Such a good story.
Oh, but okay, so since we're talking about the bomb, I'm like, oh my gosh, Pell died. And he was actually like really cool, the eagle dude that transformed into an eagle. Oh, Hawk. Yeah. I was like, he was only for like in like 2 or 3 scenes or whatever, but I was like, but he was actually really cool, and I really like his character design.
The amount of characterization that Oda can put into a character that was literally there for 2 or 3 scenes, and you care about him this much, like, Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, I know. Like, it's
but no, yeah,
amazing.
Like, he's like really, he's such a homie, man.
Yeah, and then like he like at the end he was like, Princess, it was an honor of a lifetime. And I was like, no, wait, but then did he survive? Because at the end someone said like, oh, all your injuries are taken care of, take care, don't forget this, and he kind of looked like him. Did he survive? David.
Well, yeah,
David, did he survive?
They basically show him, yeah. It's him.
Okay.
He's still alive.
Yes. But also I was really sad when he died because I was like, oh.
So you also get introduced, I think this is one of the bigger introductions as to what a poneglyph is.
What's that?
The big cube that Robin was reading. Miss Sunday.
I don't really remember.
That was literally the main plot. That's why Crocodile wanted to take over the fucking kingdom, bro.
Oh, the hieroglyph thingy. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, they're called poneglyphs.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And like you're introduced to these unbreakable, basically history-holding cubes.
Mm-hmm. Are they related to the pirate? Is there another treasure? Are they gonna go into like a treasure hunt, kind of like Nanisha Treasure, where they're gonna like find clues here and there?
Yeah, kind of actually, yeah.
Nice.
What is it? I think Robin straight up says that they hold the key to the Void Sentry.
What's that?
She hasn't said anything about that?
No. I don't think so. I didn't write about it. I don't remember.
Then again, you don't pay attention that well. Huh. I can't remember if she said anything about it or not.
I
I think she says
I
something
don't
along the
think
lines of
so.
like it didn't have what I was looking for.
I don't remember. Okay, honestly, at that point, I didn't really care about her. I was like, "There's a bomb, dude," and then also I didn't want the king to die. So
Yeah, Cobra's a Chad.
but also like Luffy did have like a really hard time trying to defeat this one. He did, and then I was like, "Oh, he's like," because most of the time he was just kind of like basically he was just buying time for his friends to go find the bomb, and but I couldn't really, I was like, oh, he's gonna lose or like just kind of like barely escape with his life kind of thing. So I was more concerned about that than anything else, honestly.
Yeah, but like he fought him with his own blood.
Oh, I know. I was like, what the heck? Oh, and also, like, this is something that like I brought up to you when I was reading it. Okay, so like I really like Naruto, Oji Naruto, Boruto not so much. But I also recently heard that well, I think you were the one that told me that everything that was like in the Boruto, like the anime, was not canon or whatever. It's not like from the manga. So I was
Yeah,
like, oh
the
wait.
previous year of animation was straight up non-canon until the recent arc that's about to start.
Oh, okay. Well, then I was like, well, maybe it's gonna get better, hopefully. But anyway, I know, like, whatever, it doesn't matter. But like, my point is that my favorite or one of my favorite characters in Naruto is Gaara, and I have a soft spot for anyone who uses sand because Gaara is my favorite character. And then so when I noticed that this guy uses sand, I was like, oh, I kind of like him. But I mean, he's evil. He's so evil,
He's
and he's
run
so
to the
mean.
core, but at the same time,
He reminds me of Gaara. So I was
does
like,
have
oh,
sand though.
yeah. And then I was like, oh, that's so cool. But also, you're evil, dude. So yeah, I was conflicted. Oh, and my next note is like, I guess at the end when like because it I mean I have mad respect right now for Captain General, whatever his thing is, Smoker, because he was like, all right, we're gonna help the people, like who cares about like thing. And he basically like, said to the face like, no, I'm not gonna accept that medal that they're trying to give me because I didn't do it, like somebody else did. But then there was this other girl like also from the Navy who's like, I forgot her name, who was like, well, yeah, but they're not gonna say the pirates did it because then that's like not a good thing, like not a good look for pirates, not a good look for the Navy or whatever.
That's just not a good look for the Navy. It's a great look for the pirates,
I guess. But also like this so I've politics are in the US are crazy and have been crazy for the past few years, so I've tried to sort of know enough to stay in the loop but not dive too deep because then it would drive me crazy. But I'm like, it is such a typical government thing to cover up stuff by lying, and I'm like, I hate when they do that. Like, it's not a good thing. Oh my gosh. Anyway, like let's not get no, let's kind of jump over to my next thing because I'm gonna just like this is gonna turn like really dark, and no, let's just the next one. Oh, okay. So my next thing, so I have already like mentioned this, how it's so relatable, especially like for a lot of introverts, like when Chopper, like how he reacts to being complimented, but also I just remember now because of my note that that speaks to his trauma, to his previous trauma. Like it's a defense for him to insult others when they compliment him because he has never really had, like other than the crew, which is still relatively new. He's only gone on one adventure and it's been like, only like a couple of days basically. He doesn't know them that well for like, full on trust to happen, and he hasn't really had they haven't had a lot of downtime to like connect and bond. Like it's just being like one danger to another. So like it really speaks to Chopper's trauma of like he needs to put a wall between him and other people to protect himself so he doesn't get hurt anymore, and that makes me sad.
It's so sad.
Yeah. And the other thing is that, yay, Zoro has a bounty now.
Yeah, he's finally part of the great game of being hunted by people.
And Luffy's went up by like a lot.
Oh, hell yeah. Especially after he
Defeated
liberated
a warlord.
a kingdom.
And defeated a warlord.
Yeah, defeated a warlord that was part of the government, mind you.
Mm-hmm. That's why another reason.
Which basically goes like, okay, the government may have not done a good thing when they made the warlord system. Because so far, all the warlords that he has fought are terrible people.
Are you talking about like in the stage where you're at, like in the current thing? Because I'm like, he's only fought one warlord.
Yeah, that's all the warlords he has fought currently.
Just one?
Just no, in the story that you have read.
Oh.
So far, the warlords, 100%.
That
one out of one has been an asshole.
Okay.
So as far as, you and whoever is reading with you know, that will remain true until, otherwise stated.
Okay, so I was conflicted like at the end of this thing because Luffy was like, Vivi, come with us. And then I was like, dude, she just like, her country needs her. Like, she's a princess. She's the only one. And then I'm like, no, she can't. And then I'm like, oh, but if she really wants to, that's her dream. And then I'm like, no. And I kept going back and forth until the end. And I was like, no, she made the right choice by staying. Even though it made them all sad. But also, I thought it was just a mark, but they actually tattooed themselves. It was a tattoo that they got of the X on their arms.
Kinda. Tattoos in One Piece are very interesting because they can be removed and moved really easily.
Okay.
I'm not even kidding.
Okay, let's just stick with the thing right now.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh my gosh, tear, because it was such like a thing, like a bonding thing. And like it just immediately my mind when I saw like everyone like lifting up their arms, even the dog got tattooed.
He's a homie, dog. He's part of the crew.
Yeah, so like when I saw that like, drawing of them like, holding up their arms with a tattoo, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. And I was like, and it speaks to like the bond that they had. And I was like, immediately thought about the cast of Lord of the Rings. They also like have a tattoo, and I think also the original Avengers also got a tattoo. And I'm like, oh, that is such
Group
yeah
project.
Yeah. And I'm like, David, you and I should get a tattoo.
Fucking what?
I don't know, like just a tiny one, because like
Let's
I've
make a
never
movie.
gotten one before. But we're siblings, and we're embarking in this journey of like reading One Piece.
Want to get an X?
An X, something better though.
Find then a
cooler.
fancy X.
No, I'll think about it. I've seen a couple of tattoos where I was like, that's kind of cute, of like Avatar: The Last Airbender stuff, and Ghibli Studios. And I'm like, oh, those are really cute. they're like super tiny tattoos, and like if I like chicken out halfway through or whatever, like it's fine, because it's only kind of like an outline thing. Because I kind of want to try it, because I don't know if I'll be able to like do it, because I've never gotten a tattoo before. So I want to try it with like something small, to see if I can get like a bigger piece later. But yeah, we should do it, because to celebrate that we are doing this podcasty thingy and reading One Piece together. It should be a One Piece thing.
How
But
about
a pretty
catch up and then I'll think about it.
All right, fine. Well, that's the end of my notes.
All right. So I have been waiting this long to ask you. What about Bon Clay? Come on, man.
Bon Clay? Who's that?
Yeah, Mr. 2.
Oh, the swan?
Yeah.
Oh. He's so creepy.
How
Okay.
dare you?
Okay. He's
God.
super creepy, but then he switches sides, because I don't know like what his deal was, or I can't remember, or why he joined. Like,
Friendship. Literally camaraderie. That is the only reason he needed.
No, that's not the point. My point is like, I don't know why he joined the Crocodile dude. That's like, I don't know, he joined, but like when he met the crew, and then he was like, oh, those are my friends, but then I have to beat you guys. But then Sanji left him alive, and he was like, good fight. And then he was like, yeah, we friends. Like, yeah. But then like he like entertained them for like 5 minutes, ditched them, and then he was like, yeah, we're friends now. Like, he was just like, yep. But then I was like, oh, but he really, like, that's basically what he wanted. He just wanted friends.
He just wanted some people to wholeheartedly and whole honestly be his friend. And sometimes that is what people sometimes need. And like that's all he fucking needed for him to sacrifice himself to the Navy. In order to let Luffy escape, he basically made himself a scapegoat.
Oh, I know. That was boss move right there.
Yeah, I was like, this fucking chat of a person. Like, oh my god.
I honestly didn't see that coming. I thought he was just gonna, like, they were just gonna fight their way out.
Have you noticed that here's some really cool things about Bon Clay. Bon Clay is known as Mr. Two, right? But Bon Clay is also like, he has no partner. It's just himself. Usually people from Baroque's works are partnered with male and female.
Well, but he said he didn't need one because he can play the role of both a woman and a man.
Because he's trans.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not only that.
Okay, so like, honestly, like, I didn't like question it. I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And like,
yeah.
But if we were to like go back a little and talk about representation, like, this is probably like a very significant thing, you know, that happened like in manga.
Yeah, kinda. And what is it? Bon Clay, like, I don't remember the specific details, but Bon Clay, or I think it's like pronounced Bon Kureu or Kurei or something like that. In Japan, there is a specific time during I think it's like a week-long festival. I can't remember the specifics again. But like, there's a specific time that you're supposed to do like this one ritual that's supposed to connect you to your families and what have you. It's like a transition thing, right? And that is a holiday, technically, because it's like a part of a bigger holiday. And so that means that not only does he have the name Mr. Two, but Bon Clay is the name of a holiday. So he has both the name of like what would go to a male and what would go to a female.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh, that is like a cool detail that I didn't know about until like I think a couple months ago.
This is one thing that I appreciate about like just manga and like anime in general, because the names are sometimes they're very like deep and meaningful, which it's not really something that we see in like American cartoons, you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely not.
And it just maybe speaks to, because we talked about, I don't remember did it in the previous episode or not, but we talked about like, no, it was just the two of us geeking out about something, but we talked about like names, how like, you know, Japanese names have like a meaning of something, and then I was like, but American names tend to not. But that's because it, at least here in the US, like, and also like English in general, is like a language that came from like a couple of different languages, not just one, and like names come from like different places. So if you tracked like where the name first came from, like usually has like some sort of meaning,
and
but it's sort of being lost now it's just, you know, this
also considering that most of the names that are around now are basically like Latin, which is a dead language, or some other dead language. In Japan, or I think like in most Asian areas, the names have like a deeper meaning, mainly because they are still connected to their original language.
Well, and also because they use a different, what is it, kanji? Because they use kanji, and then so those can have like different meanings, right? Like one symbol can mean different things and can be interpreted in different things. So it adds an extra layer to the name, and I think writers like enjoy doing that, and I enjoy when they do that.
Yeah,
because it's really
pretty
cool. Yeah. So that is all we have for today. Hoped you enjoy our crazy journey and our ramblings. Please join us for the next one. The next arc is Sky Island, which I will probably start reading.
Woo!
Today or tomorrow or next weekend, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, join us for the next one, and you can check out some of my other videos. We're also doing one for Avatar The Last Airbender, where we're just like geeking out and rewatching the whole thing together, and you can follow along and do it with us. And yeah, you can check out my website, Psychology for Geeks, to check out more of what we do, more of what I have to offer, and more of the cool projects, I guess, that I've been working on. Oh, and you can also follow my social media for more posts about, you know, anime and just geek culture in general, and also mental health, because both are fun. And yeah, it's a way that we can reframe and re-enchant our life. So yeah, you can check out my social media at Psych for Geeks and some of my other videos. Leave comments of what you enjoy about this arc. Let us know what your favorite joke was in this. For me, it was restaurantly crap. I cannot with that. It's my favorite, and I will continue to be my favorite. So yeah, join us for next time. Oh, what's the name of the thing?
Sky Island.
So yeah, set sail with us, and on our next video. And don't forget to reframe and re-enchant your life.
Why are you whispering love?